Hello everyone! I hope you're enjoying video number 2 of the... I'm not too happy with it yet. I got some better lighting, but see, I'm blocking it and see what happens. So, I gotta get back a little bit. So right now I kind of have the sweet spot where I'm not disappearing, but I have to get my green screen. It came all folded up, so I'm trying to get the creases out, so they said that'll help. I have some lighting. I get better lighting tomorrow. So hopefully that does it. I also might have to move my table back a little bit. I'm in an area that's I only have about 10 feet. I have about 10 foot by maybe 8 foot in this. This master bedroom is so weird. It's so weird. It's the setup. And so like my bedroom is I'm in the bedroom, but my bed is over there. It's just this really weird floor plan that doesn't make any sense as to why it's designed like this. It's stupid. I don't like it. But it is what it is when it comes to that. But I don't want to take away... I got 2 bedrooms downstairs. And I don't want to take away a bedroom to make a studio.
All right, but your device...
Shut up. My phone. I don't want to take away a bedroom to make a studio because I think that would hurt having guests. You know, that's a bedroom. So I'm going to do one thing real fast. Ow. I'm going to move this table a little bit. I just see if that helps any. Oh. Oh. You can see the green screen behind me. You see the folds? Yeah, they say that's affecting the lighting. This is just to fill you in on what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get the channel to look a little bit better. Those aren't boobs. Those are eyeballs. It's a skeleton shirt. Somebody made a comment. Nice nips. Nobody said that. That was just me. All right. My apologies for all the talking. I'm trying, guys. I'm trying. So this was not a request or anything like that, but this was off of the Armchair Historian. I saw the video, thought I'd do it. This is North Korea's modern military animated history. As I said, Armchair Historian. If you could scroll down here, watch me do that. Boom. If you could do the same for me, that helps out tremendously. Tells YouTube I'm not a failure. Unlike what my parents thought. Huh? That's a joke. And subscribe to the channel if this is what you like. Or anything that I've done that you find interesting and you want to check in. Great. And you can donate to the channel through the thanks button. When you give a request, somebody asked me, when you request a video, whether you donate to the channel or not, when you watch a video, just put it in the comment section. My channel's not very big. I have 29, 30 or something like that under. So when you put it in the comment section, I do get notifications. Sometimes I'm a little slow, but I'll give you a thumbs up, and then I'll tell you I'll add it to the list. So my channel's small enough that I'm able to do that. That I'm able to interact with people. So I like to do that, and I try to do that. Period. So without further ado, we're going to get into the video right now.
North Korea has long been called the Hermit Kingdom. Through a mix of crippling international sanctions and its own isolationism, the northern half of the Korean peninsula has been virtually cut off from the wider world. However, this state's isolation is hardly equivalent to weakness, and the world would be foolish to forget that even hermits can have claws. In the aftermath of Japan's defeat in the Second World War, the Korean peninsula was split in 2. The northern half occupied by the Soviets and the southern half by the Americans. The Koreans People Army, or KPA, was formed in 1948 to give Kim Il-sung, the Soviet-backed leader of Northern Korea, the means to conquer the entire Korean peninsula. 2 years later, in 1950, Kim Il-sung attempted just that and drove his army all the way to Busan, before being defeated by an American-led counterattack. The timely intervention of China saved the newly declared Democratic People's Republic of Korea from complete collapse. but the ceasefire that ended the conflict proved to be a frustrating return to the status quo. Korea would remain divided. In the subsequent decades, the unresolved tensions of the Korean War came to define the role of the KPA. While the exact tactics and strategies of the KPA have shifted considerably over the years, two missions have remained consistent: ensuring the stability of the Kim family regime and providing the North Korean state with the means to dominate the Korean peninsula. The first of these missions, the protection of the Kim family regime, heavily influences the strict and authoritarian structure of the KPA. Kim Jong-un, the current leader of North Korea, is the supreme commander of the Korean People's Army and is the ultimate decision-maker in all military matters for the state. The loyalty of the military to Kim alone is ensured by the General Political Bureau. Tasked with providing extensive political indoctrination and the Ministry of State Security, it is a secret police force that reports directly to their supreme commander.
You know, he always golfs and he always hits holes in one. And apparently his body is so perfect, he never poops. Do with that information as you will.
Since 2013, Kim Jong-un has also carried out extensive purges to further ensure loyalty, resulting in the replacement of up to 80% of the KPA's top commanders. As long as the military remains loyal to the Kim family, any internal opposition to their rule can be crushed. Mass surveillance is a sad reality for the population of North Korea, with seemingly every aspect of a person's existence being monitored. While we may not face the same level of scrutiny where we live, data brokers who sell our personal information online are a huge problem. Thanks to them, but our video from being sold. You say delete me to data, they your behalf. You go to join deleteme.com/KPA, the domination of the Korean. The second mission of the KPA, the domination of the Korean peninsula, is closely linked to the geopolitics of North Korea and has shifted significantly over the years. In the immediate decades following the Korean War, strong Soviet and Chinese aid gave North Korea a technological and economic edge over its southern neighbor, emboldening the nation's military planners to build an army that could go on the offensive and strike deep into South Korean territory. With the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, however, economic and military aid to North Korea halted, and the country entered an economic and humanitarian death spiral that it has never truly recovered from. Additionally, as the economy and population of South Korea rapidly grew, it became increasingly unlikely that North Korea could win any conventional military campaign on the peninsula. Once the more powerful of the two Koreas, North Korea increasingly found itself on the back foot. The present-day strategy and structure of the KPA reflects this unfavorable reality. Gone are the days where North Korean planners imagined sweeping offensives into the south. Instead, the Korean People's Army has increasingly focused on asymmetric warfare, deterrence, and coercion. If the KPA cannot dominate the Korean peninsula through conventional means, it will dominate it through fear. While North Korea is one of the world's poorest countries, it spends up to 25% of its GDP on defense and possesses the world's fourth largest military, with nearly 1.3 million active personnel.
Are they in a situation where they make all of the people of the men or women, maybe both, of a certain age? He's probably going to say it next, isn't he? But do they have everyone of a certain age automatically enlist in the military? Like it's just an obligation? That's what I'm guessing.
Of the 5 service branches of the KPA, the Strategic Force has become by far the most important in North Korea's national defense strategy. Although North Korea's nuclear program dates back to the 1950s, North Korea's nuclear capabilities have quite literally exploded since its first successful nuclear test in 2006. Under Kim Jong-un in particular, North Korea's nuclear arsenal has grown exponentially. While the exact size and capabilities of the country's nuclear stockpile is unknown, recent estimates suggest that North Korea possesses between 35 and 65 nuclear devices, with anywhere from 4 to 12 added every year. The KPA's strategic force claims to operate ballistic missiles that could launch these weapons into South Korea, Japan, or even the United States, although it should be noted that there is no conclusive evidence for this. For North Korea, the possession of nuclear weapons acts as a key deterrent and bargaining chip, signaling to the world the cost of any potential assault on the country. This threat is underlined by Kim Jong-un's continued assertion that he alone will make any decision to use North Korea's nuclear arsenal, meaning that any perceived threat to his power could end in Armageddon. The largest branch of the KPA, the ground force, also plays a key role in North Korea's strategic calculus. With over 1 million soldiers, 4,000 tanks, and 21,000 artillery pieces, the ground force still forms the core of the Korean People's Army's strength. Despite its vast number of soldiers and armored vehicles, however, the ground force is judged largely incapable of carrying out large-scale offensive operations due to its limited logistics and hopelessly outdated equipment. While most frontline divisions of the ground forces operate Cold War-era equipment such as the T-62 or BTR-60, the KPA does still field equipment as old as the T-34. However, the lack of modern mechanized capabilities does not make the ground force harmless. To begin, the infantry heavy force is well suited to defend the demilitarized zone on the North Korean border, which has been fortified with extensive tunnel networks, bunkers, and minefields. Approximately 70% of the ground force's considerable strength is concentrated on this border, making any enemy breakthrough exceptionally challenging. Additionally, North Korea's massive paramilitary organization, known as Worker Peasants Red Guard, possesses over 5 million members and would be able to supplement the ground force in times of war, providing the KPA with a nearly inexhaustible supply of troops and the ability to wage a protracted guerrilla campaign against any invader. Finally, rounding out the KPA's focus on deterrence and terror, the ground force maintains nearly 6,000 artillery systems within range of South Korean population centers. With essentially zero warning, these weapons give North Korea the capability to cause an estimated 100,000 casualties an hour in the opening stages of any conflict with South Korea. These casualty numbers could be even higher if the ground force chooses to launch its ample supply of chemical and biological rounds. In the skies above the ground force's merciless bombardment, the North Korean Air Force would also be active in any potential conflict. With 110,000 personnel and an estimated 545 combat-capable aircraft, the KPA Air Force is a formidable organization on paper. However, with many of its aircraft, such as the MiG-15, dating back to as early as the 1950s, the Air Force would likely not last long in any modern conflict. Compounding this issue are fuel shortages and maintenance problems, which result in the average North Korean pilot training for as little as 15 hours every year, which is less than the average American pilot flies every month. Nevertheless, the North Korean Air Force also fields the heaviest concentrations of anti-air weapons on Earth, making enemy air superiority over the country far from certain. The KPA Navy is the smallest branch of North Korea's armed forces and is, like other branches, primarily focused on deterrence. With only 2 Najin-class frigates dating from the 1970s, the KPA Navy's conventional surface capabilities are essentially non-existent. Instead, North Korea operates over 370 small attack craft and a fleet of over 70 diesel-electric submarines split between the country's 2 coasts. While most of these systems are significantly outdated and would likely serve as little more than target practice to more modern navies if they ventured too far from North Korea's coast, the sheer number of these craft means that they could prove sufficient to threaten supply lines and disrupt any attempted amphibious attack. Standing out from the rest of its fleet, however,
I was going to say, they don't have, relatively speaking, they don't have a lot of coastline. They do, coastline is coastline, but they don't have a lot of coastline as opposed to, like, India, the U.S. I'm just drawing blanks now. Countries, Brazil, like they have a coastline, but it's a little bit smaller. So if they could get their ships out and almost blockade. You could blockade, I mean, a good distance all the way around. Some are going to get through here and there, and the ships might be outdated, but you got to still take them on. And North Korea would have to be willing to want to engage with them, but still, it could be one. All you need is one ship to have one lucky shot, and it could take down a plane. It could take down another ship. It doesn't matter. I mean, you got to respect it, even if it is, ancient in a way.
North Korea has built 2 submarines claimed to be capable of launching ballistic missiles. Though the true ability of these craft to successfully launch a nuclear warhead remains an open question, the world may never want to find out. The final branch of the KPA is also its most elite. The Special Operations Force is perhaps the largest special forces organization in the world, with up to 200,000 soldiers. Of these elite soldiers, about 88,000 are estimated to be under the direct command of the Special Operations Force, while the rest are spread out over the other branches. Compared to the rest of the Korean People's Army, the Special Operation Force is provided with the best available equipment, though this is still rudimentary by Western standards. In independent operations, special forces are trained to be inserted behind South Korean lines through either amphibious or airborne methods. These elite personnel would then be tasked with disrupting South Korean supply lines and targeting critical infrastructure. At the unit level, special operations soldiers also provide reconnaissance and light infantry capabilities to the less well-equipped ground force. Complementing their conventional military, North Korea also possesses potent cyber warfare capabilities. North Korean cyber operations support the country's military goals by giving the Kim regime a deniable way to spy on and intimidate its adversaries. US intelligence services notably linked North Korean cyber forces to the 2014 Sony picture hack, which may have been motivated by the upcoming release of the movie The Interview. North Korea also uses its cyber operations to steal from financial institutions around the world, allowing the capability to potentially pay for itself. So where will the Korean People's Army go from here? To begin, it's very likely that North Korea will continue to give nuclear weapons and the strategic force a leading role in the nation's military strategy. It was once hoped that North Korea could be convinced to give up its nuclear weapons, but with the possession of nuclear weapons now legally enshrined in the country's constitution, North Korea seems to have firmly chosen its path. Next, it is likely that North Korea will continue to utilize unconventional methods to undermine its enemies. An example of this strategy is the ongoing transfer of artillery rounds from KPA storehouses to the battlefields of Ukraine. Finally, even though North Korea's nuclear capabilities will likely continue to advance, this will probably not be the case for the rest of the KPA's arsenal. Critical shortages across the entire defense sector mean that the KPA remains largely incapable of modernizing its force to any significant degree. In other words, anticipate more nukes, but don't expect the T-34s to go anywhere just yet. The Korean People's Army remains a deadly threat to any would-be invaders, but many shortcomings remain. Forged in the violence of the Korean War, the KPA is well suited to the defense of its homeland and focuses its relatively limited resources on deterrence and terror. Cold War-era equipment and poor logistics make any offensive operation into South Korea a virtual non-starter, but KPA artillery and missiles could still devastate South Korean population centers at a moment's notice. More worryingly, as North Korea acquires the material for up to 12 nuclear devices every year, the chances for peace on the Korean peninsula grow ever closer to going up in smoke. Check out our website, Armchair History TV.
Okay, thought it was over. Interesting. And North Korea always seems like they have stuff, but I know they don't have enough, and I always wonder if what they do have isn't current enough, strong enough. Nuclear weapons aside, I don't know. But like, the planes from the 50s. I don't know what they have for weapons, guns, what the standard rifle would be. I have no idea. This is interesting. Well, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned a little something from North Korea. Clearly, it's, I would say probably like the number one tourist attraction on the planet. Obviously. Outside of that, it's whatever. I'm sure they've got a Disney World there. I'm pretty positive. Has to be true. I just said it. You can't lie on YouTube. So with that, we're going to go ahead and end it here. Until next time, have a good day, have a good night.